Hello, friends! I'm Lot's wife, and this is the story of how I became a pillar of salt. I hope my story helps you so you can learn the lesson of not being like me, because I chose comfort and pleasure instead of faith, and that led me to lose my life. Like many others, I liked the good life. I wanted comfort and stability. I didn't want to continue traveling aimlessly from one place to another with old Uncle Abraham. I wanted to have a nice big house, and I wanted to live in it. The idea of a better homeland in a heavenly city that Uncle Abraham kept talking about was very beautiful, but I didn't believe it was real. And even if it was, I didn't want to wait for it. I was one of those who thought that it was better to live in the present, to enjoy what I had, and not to deny myself pleasure because of the strict rules of Uncle Abraham. I admired the women of the city and how they dressed. They spoke so differently. They dressed so well, and they could have whatever they wanted. There is a saying that behind every great man, there is always a great woman. But it can also be true that a woman can be behind some of the great sins of a man. So, between you and me, it was not only the shepherds' fights that led us to move to Sodom. I also managed to convince him that this was a very good reason to leave. And what better place to live than the Jordan Valley near the big cities? We lived there for some time until we finally moved to Sodom. I felt fulfilled. I felt free. I could finally live life the way I wanted. Life in the city was fun. We always had something to do. No more boring life intense for us. But there were times that I would see a sad look in Lot's eyes. He wanted me to be happy, but I could tell that he didn't like the life we were living as much as I did. He had lived a long time with his Uncle Abraham and didn't give up all his beliefs. Sometimes we argued, but I always won. He would just shrug his shoulders and go away by himself. To be honest, there were times when I felt a little guilty. Deep down, I knew he was right, but I was enjoying life too much to change. After a while, Lot was no longer so extreme and conservative. He no longer tried to stop our children or me from going out and enjoying city life with our friends. Our family was finally becoming part of Sodom. Lot continued to pray and worship God, but he wasn't as strict about things as he used to be. Living in the city changed even a religious man like Lot. And then one day, we had to leave. The night that we had to leave Sodom was terrible. I did not understand why God had to destroy the city. I wanted to stay. We would have to live in the mountains? No, I didn't want to leave. Lot ran to each of our children's houses to warn them. But all of us had stopped listening to his warnings years ago. Everyone laughed at him. No one believed that God would destroy such a beautiful place like Sodom. He returned home very discouraged. I was no help to him because I didn't want to leave either, especially not without my children and my pretty things. I did whatever I could to delay our escape. I loved my beautiful home so much. Suddenly, the angels would wait no longer. They grabbed us by the hands and rushed us out of the city. "Run for your lives and don't look back," they said. Both Lot and I were scared. Lot pleaded with the angels for a different plan. I couldn't help thinking about everything I was losing. My life without my possessions was not worth living. I took one last peek back at Sodom. In that moment, everything went black for me. I had become a statue of salt. Have you ever wondered why God turned me into a statue of salt? Because salt absorbs liquid, and in the same way, I had allowed myself to be absorbed by the things of this world. Many years later, Jesus said, "Remember Lot's wife. Whosoever shall seek to gain his life shall lose it, but whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it." So kids, the lesson you can learn from my sad story is not to do as I did. Don't miss out on eternal life just because you want to enjoy material things today. Don't live in the cities because there are so many temptations there. Live your life with God. Eternal life is not someone's invention, it is real, and earthly pleasures are temporary. The one who obeys God will have eternal life, and that's worth more than anything we might have here. Bye, friends!